All right, folks, check this out. Another MAGA Fox News host who was recently humiliated by Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom humiliated himself on live TV last night on his own show in a desperate, failed attempt to clap back against the governor. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, the number of MAGA Fox News hosts that have engaged in some sort of public feud with Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is increasing, and Trace Gallagher, like Tommy Lauren, has attempted to fire back. So I'm going to show you this clip of Gallagher's attempted clapback. Then I'm going to show you how Newsom responded. Then I'm going to remind you what initially prompted this feud between them, and we'll look at some other quotes as well. But here is MAGA Fox News host Trace Gallagher making an ass out of himself on his own show.
Well, the Fox News at Night Common Sense Department is curious that Gavin Newsom decided to criticize Fox News at Night and yours truly on social media. Newsom was, of course, using his new Trumpian style, where he tries to mimic and mock Trump's tone and tenor, not to mention using all capital letters, posting, quote, "bird brain Trey Gallagher." A so-called Fox News host that nobody has ever heard of says my posts are childish and unbecoming of a leader. So basically, Newsom thinks his mock style is clever. Common Sense thinks it would be more clever if he obsessed less on Trump and more on California. He is, after all, the governor, at least when he's not an influencer or a podcaster. And California isn't just in financial trouble. Its mystique is mysteriously missing. The mamas and the papas would never be caught California dreaming today. Heck, it was only 60 years ago that Jed Clampett's kinfolk told him California is the place you ought to be. So he loaded up the truck and moved to Beverly. Now the trucks are going the opposite direction. In-N-Out Burger just loaded up its truck and moved to Tennessee. California used to be swimming pools and movie stars. Now it's shoplifters and empty reservoirs. Common Sense is well aware that Gavin Newsom is eyeing the nation's top job. But first, he needs to get a whole lot better at this job.
So that was embarrassing. Dated references, the mamas and the papas, and somebody who likes classic rock and classic music. Even I thought that was a stretch, but I suppose when you consider the Fox News viewership, that might be a modern reference by comparison, given that they have 120-year-old viewers. I set that aside. They also made a reference. He made a reference to the Beverly Hillbillies. Again, an extremely dated reference. Pretty obscure, the grand scheme of things, and then insulting the financial state of California. Listen, California, like any state, has its problems. California is obviously far from perfect, but it's the fourth biggest economy in the world. It is the economic powerhouse of the United States. There are no states in this country, certainly not any red state, including Texas and Florida, that come close to matching the economic power and the technological power of California. So California has things going for it that Texas and Florida and other red states simply don't. So we could spend all sorts of time shitting on red states, and we would actually have more to complain about than blue states. But again, note this idea, well, he should be focusing on his job. Well, we could look at the national level or the global level and see what's going on with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is objectively the least popular president since the history of polling, rivaled only by himself in his first term. Every Democratic president at this point in their presidency was objectively more popular and more successful than Donald Trump. So Trace's logic applies to Trump much more than it does to Newsom. And again, the hypocrisy here is on full display. So it was a pretty cringe effort, both on the facts and on the style, the references. And so in response to this, Trace Gallagher puts this clip up and says, while Newsom is crashing out on X about Trace Gallagher, the CSD is clapping back. Do you have a comeback for this time, Gavin Newsom? And they did. And it's an iconic meme from The Simpsons. Old man yells at cloud. And the ratio on this, again, is pretty staggering. So Trace Gallagher has gotten about 3.3 thousand likes. Governor Newsom has gotten, in a fraction of the time, 13,000 likes. So people are clearly resonating more with Governor Newsom's clapback than Trace Gallagher's cringe attempt to put Newsom in his place. Now, with that in mind, again, we're going to take a look at what the rest of the internet has to say with respect to, at least to Twitter. But I want to remind you of what prompted this. This is initially what Gallagher had to say about Governor Newsom.
Guarantees that's just the bottom line in all of this. Gavin Newsom, meantime, posting this on X, Liz, using all capitals, of course, trying to mock Trump, use Trump style. He's been doing this for a while now. He says, quoting, Trump just fled the podium with Putin. No questions, nothing. Total low energy. The man looked like he'd just eaten 3 buckets of KFC with Vlad. Admit it, Donnie J. You're terrified because this was the worst week of your life because of me, Gavin C. Newsom. I think he's trying to be funny. I don't know what he's trying to do, but it comes across as childish. And you're the governor of the biggest state in the union. What are you doing?
So again, this is the problem. If Fox News hosts said in a vacuum, listen, I believe leaders, be they state governors or presidents of the United States, have an obligation to be mature, to be gracious, to not be childish, and to focus on their responsibilities, then I think Gallagher would have a point. But the problem is, as Gallagher conceded in the first video that we showed you, which is a response to this video ultimately, he accidentally gave the game away because he conceded, okay, I'm complaining about Newsom and Newsom's behavior and his childishness, but all he's doing is imitating Trump. He's making fun of Trump. So by extension, by association, Gallagher is implicitly acknowledging that Trump is immature and childish as well. He just will never explicitly acknowledge it because he's a MAGA Fox News host who's unprincipled and hypocritical. It's okay for Trump, despite his manifold responsibilities. I think we can all agree the president of the United States is more powerful, more important, and therefore more demanding, at least in theory, in terms of his responsibilities than any state governor, including the governor of California. But if you give Trump a pass, despite having the more important, more powerful, more demanding job, then why are you focusing on Newsom? The logic would dictate if you're going to give Trump a pass, then you should give Gavin a pass as well. But what it is they don't like that Governor Newsom's press office has cracked the code and is using Trump's own logic effectively to bait and troll and mock Trump, MAGA Republicans, and even MAGA Fox News hosts. They can't stand that it's getting under their skin. So in response to that first clip, or rather this clip I just showed you, which is chronologically first, is what prompted this, Governor Newsom responded, Bird Brain Trace Gallagher says that my posts are childish and unbecoming of a leader. Can you believe it? Many are saying Fox, edit the tapes, News should cancel his pathetic little bedtime show immediately. They're calling it the most boring program in cable history, total snooze fest. That's what prompted Gallagher to spend several days going, okay, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to come up with something better. He didn't. He actually embarrassed himself again with a bunch of shitty dated references, trying to do, I don't know, it sounded like some almost like, spoken poetry, right? Like, some sort of weird attempt at, a poetry slam on that video clapback. And we're already seeing that Twitter is ratioing it to hell and back. People like Governor Newsom's response to it more than his. And again, if you look at the quote tweets on this, imagine being this fucking stupid. Bro's talking about Jed Clampett and Mamas and the Papas. The Onion couldn't do a better job. Some responses favorable to Gallagher, but Fox News lecturing on common sense and politics is ironic given its record of paying massive fines, settling defamation suits, and repeatedly misleading its audience. Between a $787.5 million defamation settlement, human rights fines, and a toxic workplace culture, calling it a serious news source is a stretch. Gavin Newsom is dragging the entire Republican Party. Then you have Governor Newsom's response. Let's see here. As always, Trace Gallagher slices through the nonsense with a flaming sword of truth. So again, another, a response that's favorable to him, still outnumbered. Let's see. Very impressive segment worth watching for a minute and a half. To be fair, I've never heard of you. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people are pushing back on this. The thing when you look at the likes versus Gallagher's likes versus Newsom likes, you see a staggering asymmetry. So again, it seems to me it's pretty obvious that Newsom is winning the social media game, at least against MAGA Fox News hosts like Tommy Lauren and now Trace Gallagher. And we'll see, because other MAGA Fox News hosts are stepping up to try to attack Governor Newsom, and Governor Newsom is responding in kind. It's pretty glorious. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.